What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host and captain, Garrett Morling, and here on the interwebs with me is the one, the only Nerd Dads, Zech Keenan.
Hey, I'm back, and I'm happy to be here. How's it going, everybody?
He's back and better than ever.
I am.
He really did not like... Now, I can't remember, did that happen on the show or off? I think that was after we recorded, where we kind of got in a little bit of fight about who was the bigger Batman fan. And now I'm noticing behind you, there is all of the Batman stuff. All of it.
And it's not... That's just like scratching the tip of the iceberg. You have to see the rest of my house. I have walls dedicated to the man, the myth, the god, Batman.
The Cape Crusader. You know, that there was one time I actually had to tell JJ that was actually what they called him back in the day. I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Kajoma called you out on our Discord. I want to give a big shout out to Kajoma. Kajoma01, I think his whole name is, on there. Last week on the episode, JJ said that Garrett didn't know who the Cape Crusader was. And Garrett's like, yeah, I do. And JJ was like, we have it recorded, bro. And I was like, all right. To any of our listeners out there who can actually hunt down the audio and tell us exactly where Garrett tells us that he doesn't know who the Cape Crusader is, I will personally mail them a sticker from Super Gamer Boy store, and Kajoma came through. So,
like the next day, the first thing that went through my head is like, doesn't he have anything better to do with his time? Like, come on, Kajoma. Like, you're already wasting your time listening to this podcast, and then you're going to go listen to old episodes? Oh, no.
Maybe he just got a memory of like a steel trap.
Maybe.
Because he was like, in the Discord, he's like, no, he did. I remember it. And then a few minutes later, he finds the episode.
I really hope he if he started listening through episodes, I hope it was around like episode 1 and he worked his way up and he didn't start at like 71 and work his way all the way back to find it. Like, there it is. Because it was like episode 10.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh. It was the craziest thing. So yeah, shout out to Kajoma01 for making me look like an idiot in the Discord. But you know, you win some, you lose some.
That's what it is. So, thanks for being a good sport.
Yeah. And even listening back to that, I'm like, okay, like I get my point across. It's not that I like was completely oblivious to it. I just, obviously I'm not the biggest fan. So like I'd heard it, but didn't know where it came from. I didn't fully understand it. So just in defense, because I know not everyone's going to go back and listen to that clip. I just was a young, naive child just a mere year and a half ago. Yeah. And now I'm a man, so I know everything.
Super gamer man.
Yeah, no, that's JJ's title. That's JJ's title. No one can be a super gamer man.
You could be a super gamer. You could be a super gamer sage.
Yeah,
how about that one?
Something
there
like that. Yeah, after the whole lawsuit with JJ, you know, it's can't. There's certain things I can and can't say. So I'll fill you in, Zech, later on. I know you came in as a Super Gamer Boy after the fact, so you're kind of living in a post lawsuit world here. But how's your week been?
It's been pretty good. I want to mention, so I did a quick little review of Resident Evil 3 on my Nerd Dad's Instagram.
Yeah. Right.
You can follow it at nerd_dads. And that it's mostly made for dads. Like I review the games as a dad, you know, from a dad's perspective. I mean, you can go anywhere. You can even come here and give a review of a game as like, you know, oh, it's good or it's bad. But so the whole premise of it is for dads. So a fellow Instagrammer reached out to me on there. And he said that I actually reviewed the game wrong. And so at first I was like, okay. And then he tells me why. And the reason why I reviewed Resident Evil 3 wrong is because Resident Evil 3, in his perspective, and this is his words, is it's meant to be played through several times, over and over and over again, ever since Resident Evil 1. Like the whole point of the game is to see how fast you can beat it and how quickly and you can how to achieve that S rank. You know, think of it as like from my perspective, my point of view, it would be like playing like a Metroidvania game. The point of that game isn't just to blow through the story; it's to explore every nook and cranny till you can get 100%. You know, so technically, he actually really opened up my mind about the way I thought of Resident Evil 3, in the sense that he's right. That game really is meant to be played through over and over again on like the hardest setting and trying to get all those unlockables. It's not meant to be a sit down, beat it in 6 hours, and move on to the next game. It really is meant to be a game you run through over and over again.
Right.
His name is The Real Gaming Dad on Instagram, and he's a really cool dude. I recommend you guys go check him out. Any of our listeners. He's also
Cool.
a big time Xbox fan, so I'm just saying.
So don't go follow him.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
Seems like he's an excellent fella. He's a nice guy, and yeah, it was a good interaction I've had with him on there. So it was pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's almost like I feel like a lot of the gaming community can be kind of aggressive in our point of view.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I get aggressive.
To say the least.
So it was really nice actually just having like a cool conversation with the guy about a game.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with him, especially after, obviously when I was a kid, I was too young to play them originally, but even like Resident Evil 2, like, yeah, that one was one I did play over and over and over again. I loved it, but that's still technically to me a flaw in 3 is that it didn't feel replayable to me. I finished it. I'm like, no, I don't really want to play it. Like it wasn't fun enough for me to keep playing it, but no, that's interesting that technically should be, kind of a facet that you take into, thought when you're reviewing that game. So, that's cool. That's awesome. You reached out though. That's really cool. So thanks for reaching out and setting Zech straight, The Real Gaming Dad.
Yeah, man. Anytime you find me off course, just let me know,
Call them out, boys.
Yeah.
And ladies. Alrighty. Let's see. Oh, whoa, where are you? I lost my spot over here. I don't know what's going on.
Oh man.
Oh no. So I guess I didn't say how my week's been. My week's been good. It's going good. Let's just put it at that, I guess. I don't know. There's not much more I really want to elaborate on a podcast, but it's been busy, a little bit stressful, and it's going. It's for the times we're living in, it's going pretty good. The weekend was pretty good. I got to play a lot of Final Fantasy VII, so that was nice. And got to play some Warzone with my buds. Friday night I played. I feel bad. On a Saturday, my buddy Derek wanted to play, but at that point, so I didn't get to play any video games last week because it was just so busy. So Friday night, I played finally with my friends doing some Warzone, and then Saturday, I was just like, hey, bud, like Derek was like, couldn't we play Warzone? I'm like, I haven't touched Final Fantasy VII, and we're supposed to talk about it on the next episode. So I need to put some hours into this thing. So I felt really bad. Sorry, Derek. But yeah, so that was like my Saturday and Sunday. I know it's like one of those things where it's cool that, I get to do this for the podcast. Like, I don't know. It's an easy excuse for me to tell my wife, and she's just like, "Okay, it's for the podcast." Like,
yeah,
but
that's only going to go so far.
But when I give it, right. But when I give that excuse to friends, it's hard, especially when they want to play video games. But it's like, no, I need to play a different video game. Unfortunately, like that's sometimes crappy. But we'll talk about later. But Final Fantasy VII is doing some stuff for me. I'll tell you that. But cool. Let's. I'm just going to touch on a couple things before we get into the fun part of the show. Although I think this is pretty fun. Patreon.com/SuperGamerBoys. If you can go over there and support us, that would be awesome. We're going to talk more about it later on the show. But first off, before we do anything else, I want to shout out our Patreon sponsors. We have Bill Bird, Julie Bates, Dustin Long, and Brent Fox. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. It's huge. It's really awesome having you guys helping us out. And and all you Patreon supporters, you guys are awesome. So, and if you haven't already, go check us out, supergamerboys.com/store. This last week, I actually updated a bunch of our merch. I put Zech's face on it all. So
I'm on a sticker.
Our sticker has Zech's face now. Our mug has Zech's face on it now. And I don't think I added you to anything else, but I also added a new t-shirt. Okay. I added a new t-shirt, which was like, it was one of those things where it hit me over the last week. I'm like, this was like a super like random, like inside joke kind of thing that we talked about in an episode, I don't know, forever ago. Like we talked about for like 2 or 3 episodes. I'm going to make this shirt. Or like, we should do this. and it just never happened. And finally, I'm like, I'm going to do it. I know it's like totally random, but I'm going to do it. So I made a t-shirt and a poster. Says Super Gamer Boys for President 2020. So go check that out if you want one of those.
How much are those?
T-shirts are like $20 and posters like 15. I literally, so the way our merch stores work, for any of you new listeners, I have it set up so we don't really make much money off it, like maybe like $1 or maybe $2, like, because my goal isn't necessarily to make money. I just want to make cool merch that you guys can wear and support our podcast, like show it off, get people to hear and, you know, see it and then listen to it. So go check it out, supergamerboys.com/store.
And that's why I'm voting for you for president. That's why you need to vote for it, because we're all about the gamers.
All about the gamers.
Xbox.
Gamers first. I walked into that one. Alrighty. It's time for the nerdy nudes. I guess you have to do it because JJ's not here, so you got to do the thing.
All right. How should I do this? It's time for the nerdy nudes.
Okay, that was very good. That was very good. I like that.
I think years of theater coming back.
Yeah, I think JJ will appreciate that one too. That was very good. He might actually, pass that job off to him. Oh, by the way, we haven't addressed it at all. By the way, JJ's not here for you audio listeners. That's why I haven't introduced him. That's why it's been like weirdly quiet. Like we've just been acting like everyone watches on YouTube, but some of the audio listeners are probably thinking like, JJ's been really quiet. Maybe they had his mic muted accidentally. No, he had something come up and he's not available tonight to record. But that's one of the many perks of having a third Super Gamer Boy is that, we can call audibles like that and the show still goes on. So, cool. Well, this first news story is kind of a big one, which is funny because so a little behind the scenes. And obviously, our Patreon supporters at the $5 level and above already know this because they can see the show notes. But originally on the show notes, I'd put our first news story was a really, really interesting and funny story about the new Cooking Mama game. Like, did you read through that story, Zech? Like,
yeah,
it's kind of bizarre. Like it's kind of a crazy thing. It's like what's crazy conspiracy theory? Like
the game was released and they recalled it.
Yeah, it was all this crazy stuff where like it got released and then it wasn't released, and then some people are saying it's data or it's mining Bitcoin on the background on your Switch and all this crazy stuff. Like it's the most bizarre story. But I later was like, oh, wait, there was like an actual important news story that came out last week that we should probably talk about. And that is Sony plans limited PlayStation 5 output in the first year. This comes from Takashi Mochizuki and Yuki Furukawa over at Bloomberg. What's that?
This is the link that I posted, or is this the direct Bloomberg article?
This is a direct Bloomberg article. I did after I added the whatchamacallit, I realized that, this is the article that you posted about in the topic thing. But I did not use your link. This is directly from the source, though, from the horse's mouth. Bloomberg writes, Sony Corp plans to produce far fewer units of its upcoming PlayStation 5 in its first year than it had for the previous generation console's launch. According to people familiar with the matter, the Tokyo-based tech giant is limiting its initial production run in part because it expects the PS5's ambitious specs to weigh on demand by leading to a high price at launch, the people said, asking not to be identified because the subject is private. The global COVID-19 pandemic has affected Sony's promotional plans for the new device, but not its production capacity, they added. The company has told assembly partners it would make 5 to 6 million units of the PS5 in the whole year, ending March 2020. Okay, in the fiscal year. So I guess that's not the whole year. If it comes out in November, that's like December, January, February, March, like 4 months. Okay, so 5 to 6 million units in the first 4 or 5 months, according to other people involved in the machine's supply chain. When Sony released the PlayStation 4 in November 2013, it sold 7.5 million units in its first 2 quarters. So this is a little bit of a ramp down, not too much, but The PS5's loftier price tag may also deter initial take-up. Game developers who have been creating titles for the next PlayStation anticipate its price to be in the region of $499 to $549. In Bloomberg Intelligence's Matthew Canterman points to increased component costs pushing up the price required for Sony to break even. Sony has struggled with its price-setting decision for the PS5 because of scarce components, Bloomberg News has reported. The Sony spokesperson declined to comment. Its shares were largely unchanged in afternoon trade. And the article kind of goes on and on, talking about how the PS4 currently sells for $300. The PS4 Pro is for $400. Yeah, there's not really much more pertaining to the PS5, but this is kind of, except for this part, this little part here. I think both the PS5 and Xbox Series X may end up at that $450, even though they would lose money at that price. This is from Damien Thong, an analyst at Mercury Capital. So just an analyst who apparently works more with like the tech industry and stuff. Seems to think both companies will cut it low and just take a huge loss, but that's a big loss though. Like if it's
a fat loss,
like $499 to $550 worth of components at least, and this person seems to think they'll cut it to $450. Like what do you think that, I don't know. How do you think that works? How does that work in your head? Like what are your thoughts when you're hearing this stuff?
They're going to make like
5
million?
5 to 6 million in the first in those first 4 months, basically first 5 months.
5 million times a loss of $50 per unit.
It's a lot of money.
Stacks up quick.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they're going to hurt either way, because I think Xbox, all they would need to do, I mean, even if Xbox isn't the console that everybody like wants around the holidays, and everybody still wants the PlayStation 5, if the Xbox is cheaper, like say Xbox does come in at that $400 to $450 range, people are going to go out and buy that Xbox.
Yeah.
Especially since Xbox is offering all that backwards compatibility.
Yeah. My one quick thing. How much, like, have we heard how much the Xbox Series X is going to be? Because based off of at least the specs we've seen, they're extremely similar, and Xbox even has more powerful in some cases. So they're going to be taking a huge loss too, which is crazy. Although they have the services to cover the price in a way, but still, like, that's huge.
Well, I know my man Phil. Phil Spencer, head
buddy.
of Xbox.
Yeah, you're close friends with him.
We text. He was saying that they don't have any plans to not produce, and he didn't make any comments about scarcity of parts that I can recall. But either way, I think we're going to see both companies have to take a loss in order to sell units. I mean, Sony already did it already with the PS3, if you remember. Like, their systems were already super expensive, and they were selling for $500 a piece, up to $600, and they were already taking losses on those things. So taking a loss initially out the gate isn't something that companies are not used to doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think if they're going to stay competitive and they're going to if they want that install base from a PS4 user to a PS5 user, they might have to.
They got to do something. Yeah.
Yeah. If they're not worried about people switching over right from that, then they can totally run it at $500 and still be okay. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to end up selling a really cheap PlayStation 4 around the holidays, especially if they have a ton of them left. Like, I bet you're going to see PlayStation 4s drop down to like $200 and with a bundle.
Oh, I mean, Black Friday, the last 2 years, they've had bundles for like $200 or $250, and it comes with 3 games, like God of War, Spider-Man, and like Last of Us, or I mean, like Uncharted 4 or something like that. It's already like drop into those prices. But I feel like, did I read it, or was it later on the story? I might have missed it. You keep saying your thing. I need to find something.
Yeah, so like Sony's gonna come out of this on top either way, whether they sell it at cost, whether they sell it at a loss, because they're gonna ship so many PS4s during the holidays that they're gonna make up for that loss.
Yeah, and that's actually okay. I found that paragraph here. So it's the very next paragraph I didn't read. Sony's strategy, according to several people familiar with its plan, will be to rely on incumbent PlayStation 4 models as a bridge to get new users onto the PlayStation's platform network services while the PS5 remains in limited supply. So not only are they relying on the PS4 to continue to make sales, like hardware-wise, like selling actual consoles, but I mean, from that sentence, from those people on the inside, it sounds like they're trying to come up with new services to also, hey, those services will be compatible on both PS4 and PS5. And so if you have a PS4, you're going to have access to them. So sign up for them, which is interesting. It's like, what more are they going to start doing? Like, I mean, last year? Yeah, we heard about them. They're teaming up with Microsoft to use their Azure servers to improve their streaming software. Does that mean they're going to, rebrand their PlayStation Now to finally be, more like Game Pass? Or does that mean they're just going to change how PlayStation Plus works? I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
It's kind of interesting.
Speaking of PlayStation Now, just real quick, because I don't think I have anywhere else in the show notes. It's on sale right now. If you guys are interested at all, I know I've preached this to the choir, or not preached to the choir. I totally messed up that phrase there, so just forget I ever said that. I've been preaching it from the hilltops is what I was trying to get at.
There it is.
Preaching it from the hilltops that streaming future is here, especially on Sony. People have been missing out on it. I'm not going to lie, Game Pass is amazing. I have it on my PC. I love it. Which that doesn't even use streaming. It's all you have to install on the computer. But
Game Pass is the greatest.
Game Pass is great. But
greatest.
PlayStation Now has a massive library, and I'm just stating facts here. This isn't any jab at Xbox or anything. There's technically more titles on PlayStation Now than Game Pass.
Garbage titles.
Very, very good titles. So normally it's $60 for an entire year. It's on sale right now for, I believe it was just $42.99. So I obviously immediately went out and signed up for it because I've been wanting to pull the trigger for so long for PlayStation Now. I'm like, oh, I need it. I want it. Because there's so many awesome PS3 games that I can never play again unless I buy PS3. And I'm like, oh, it's $40 and then I can, jump in and play them anytime I want. That's awesome. That sounds great. So
yeah. So that's awesome because I actually kind of want to try PlayStation Now. And I know I gave you a lot of crap about Metal Gear Solid, but I actually do want to check it out because the lore is pretty interesting and the art is really cool. And the game gets a lot of accolades from a lot of people, not just you. But and I actually did enjoy Metal Gear Solid 5 for what it's worth. I didn't get a chance to beat it yet, but I really do like the aesthetic, the world, the acting, and I like Death Stranding. So
yeah, check it out. Although the first one isn't on there. That's the unfortunate thing is the first Metal Gear isn't on PS Now because it's a PS1 game. They don't have PS1 games on there.
What is the first Metal Gear? Is it Metal Gear or is it Metal Gear Solid? Because I remember Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid, yeah, on PS1.
Okay.
Yeah, Metal Gear on Game Boy. It's almost it's technically the first one, but it's not the first one of the Metal Gear Solid story. There's a storyline that's being followed in Solid, where in Metal Gear, I guess it also follows the same kind of story and characters too, but it's
okay.
I don't know. I don't think it's if you just played Metal Gear Solid, the Solid series 1, 2, 3, and 4, you get everything you need. You don't need to play the Game Boy games or they were on other consoles as well, right? I'm trying to think what other console they were on. I played them a little bit of them on Game Boys where I mainly
PSP?
played them.
Yeah,
No, I mean, okay, yeah, ports of them, but they were originally on the original Game Boy.
Well, wasn't Guns of the Patriots? Which Metal Gear game am I thinking of that was on PSP? It was PSP exclusive.
Oh, you're thinking of Metal Gear Peace Walker.
Peace Walker, that's it.
Which that's a really good one too. I started playing that one a little bit. That one's on PlayStation Now. That one is on there.
That's cool.
because on PlayStation now what they have is they actually have the HD collection that was on 360 and PS3. They have that whole disc set on PS Now, so you can play 2, you can play 3, and you can play Peace Walker all in one, one stream or one disc or whatever.
Okay. That's cool.
But anyways, that's not part of the news, but it is. Go check it out. Go sign up for that and you don't have to have a PlayStation. Use PlayStation Now. If you have a DualShock 4 controller, which you can get those off Amazon for $30-$40, they're on sale once in a while. There's a PlayStation Now app for your PC. You can play around your computer. So even if you don't even own a PlayStation, you could be playing amazing PlayStation titles. Right now, they actually have Spider-Man and Control for free on there. So you can play Spider-Man, Control, and I forget that there's 3 PlayStation, like some bigger PlayStation games that are...
I know Uncharted is on there. It wasn't Horizon Zero Dawn on there.
Well, it's like a timed cycle thing. Like every 3 or 4 months they cycle it out. So like they got rid of Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War, and now it's Spider-Man, Control, and something else. But yeah, go check it out. It's good stuff. But yeah, so I think that kind of concludes our Sony talk, though. Like basically, there's not going to be as many PlayStations. It's going to be hard to get your hands on one. Well, that's the thing. I get, that's kind of an interesting thought, though. If they are so expensive and their idea is to kind of tide people over by providing things still for the PS4, do you think it's still going to be a mad dash to try to get one of these? Like, because I'd love to get a PS5 at launch. I've never bought a game console at launch. Is it going to be that difficult for me to get a hold of one of these, do you think?
Yeah, you'll have some hardcore people out there that are going to do what they can to get the hands on one for sure. I mean, think about the Wii. Remember when the Wii launched? There was like very few, a very short supply. You couldn't get a Wii for months. Yeah. I had to buy my Wii literally off a guy out of his trunk to get a Wii. And awesome. On the day of launch, I was like, awesome. The Wii has arrived. I'm going to go get it. I can't wait to play that Zelda game, Twilight Princess. Remember Twilight Princess? Mm-hmm. And I went down to the store with my dad because I was like, hey, Dad, you want to go with me? I'm going to go down to I was in college. I already had saved up a bunch of money to get it. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll go. So we go down to Best Buy. Didn't have any Wiis, but I bought Twilight Princess. We went to like another store, went to like Walmart, went to Target, went to like Toys R Us. Nobody had Wiis. So I had a copy of Twilight Princess for like 3 or 4 months before I had an actual Wii to play it on.
That's awesome. Jeez. So. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess, yeah, my initial thought with that was like, oh, well, if it is so expensive, maybe it'll be a little easier to get your hands on. But no, there's people who scalp them and they make a livings off of that. Like, they'll buy 15 of them and then sell them on eBay for $1,000 a piece because they hope it's the hot ticket item that year, which I don't know, maybe a lot of them will lose out because all the parents are like, I'm not spending $500 on a console, $550, whatever it ends up being.
They did it for the PS3 back in the day. Just saying.
Yeah, and they made tons of money off that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all pans out.
Yeah.
The next news story is this one I want to touch on real quick. I don't necessarily have my own personal spin on a lot of this stuff. We're not journalists. We don't claim to be journalists. We're just a couple of dudes who talk into a microphone. But Jason Schreier, some of you may recognize that name. We mention it a lot, probably like most weeks for news stories that we pull. Jason Schreier is leaving Kotaku, citing GO Media as a reason. So this article comes from the Washington Post, which is pretty crazy. The Washington Post did a whole write-up on Jason Schreier. Pretty long write-up, actually. So if you're interested, go check that out. It's kind of a lot of history and different things that's been going on. But Jason Schreier, a journalist known in the video games industry for covering working conditions inside tight-lipped game development studios, announced his resignation from the video game news site Kotaku on Thursday, citing dissatisfaction with the ownership and direction of parent company GO Media. Schreier, who will soon take a position with another company he declined to detail, is the latest of several Kotaku employees to depart the company while invoking GO as a predominant reason, which Schreier just updated today on Twitter. It was today or yesterday, one of those. He actually is going to Bloomberg to work with their tech news side. So that'll be pretty sweet. So we're still going to get him in the industry. He's landing on his feet. He's already had something lined up. He's probably had this lined up for a while now. And just like, okay, now I'm pulling the trigger. Peace.
Boom, drop the mic. I'm out.
Yeah. But Kotaku has been owned and operated by private equity-backed Geo Media since 2019 when it was sold by Univision, along with other sites formerly under the Gawker banner. The site network, which includes Gizmodo and The Onion, to name a few, has gone through a series of tumultuous ownership and business changes, most notably after the landmark Hulk Hogan invasion of privacy lawsuit that shut down its original ownership in 2016. So, I don't know, this article goes on for a long time, and basically the gist of it is that, right here, Schreier said his breaking point was when Deadspin, which was one of the other news sites under the umbrella, fired senior editor Barry Pachesky for disagreeing with a management mandate to stick to sports, which angered journalists on staff who had cultivated a reputation for aggressive off-color reporting and eccentric commentary. They argued it would betray the online readership and community born out of their past work. So basically, Geo Media came in as like, no, like to this one news site, this sports site that's under their umbrella is like, no, stick to sports. Like, we don't want your commentary. We don't want your BS. Like, just give us straight news. And they're like, no, that's not what we do. We haven't done that for years. Like, why would we? So there's been a lot of internal crap going on over there. So at first it was a sad story because we're all like, oh no, we're going to lose Jason. Like, he's the best of the best out there. He's broken some huge news stories as far as, exposing companies who are very heavily were pushing crunch culture, overworking their employees, and also some major, leaks and stuff like that. He's usually pretty big. But, congratulations to Jason. Now that we know he's going over to Bloomberg and staying in the industry. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know. I'm curious how much longer Kotaku and all the other Geo Media sites continue on, because by the sounds of this article, it's just a slow trickle of all the employees from all the sites are just bailing because no one wants to deal with their BS.
Yeah. Well,
it's crazy.
Sucks, but there's what it is, I guess.
Yeah. Like I said before, we're not necessarily experts or journalists in the matter, so I don't have a huge opinion, but it is kind of, I don't know, interesting to see how much longer sites like that stick through it when all their journalists are like, no, you suck. This is crappy. Let's get into the next story. This is actually from Gizmodo, one of those Geo Media sites. So here we are supporting the bad guy. Whoops. Sony.
Written by Jason Schreier.
Wait a second. Sony's patented a fuzzy robot to be your supportive gaming buddy. Sony. I love the picture on the patent. There's an actual picture on the site.
Can you share your screen to show it?
Oh, I might be able to. Hang on. Ignore the tabs.
All right, ignore the tabs, people.
I'm just kidding. I don't have anything that bad in my tabs. Turn on screen share. Oh, this may or may not work. Oh, boy.
It's about to get crazy. We're going to test this live. So many things can fail.
Oh,
whoa!
No.
It's like Zech Inception right now. It's like a
happening?
Zech within a Zech.
Oh no! Oh no! This is so bad.
You failed.
Yeah, I am. Can you see that?
What the heck am I watching? Yeah, I can see it.
Do you see it, your little cloud buddy?
Little cloud buddy.
There he is.
Weird couple kissing on the side of the screen.
Yeah, it's.
Wow.
I don't know. It's for another news story. IO9.
Oh man,
that Westworld reveal was more than just
a Game of Thrones cameo.
It's some old MGM movie. It looks like it's from the 50s or something.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, back to our
story at hand.
Story at hand. Man, this technology is blowing my mind. Look at all my stuff on my desktop.
Fuzzy cloud could be your gaming buddy. For those of you with no friends.
Great. Now my camera's not working. Hey, I'm back. It's going to be hard to edit in later. Cool. So, yeah, Sony's most famous robot is probably... I don't know how to pronounce that. It's an A, but it's not. There's no line in the A. It's an upside down V. But Aibo? I'm clicking on it now. It's a dog. They have a dog robot.
Okay.
So yeah, Sony's most famous robot is probably Aibo, but a new released patent hints that the company is also working on a fuzzy little guy to keep gamers company on the couch. The Sony patent describes the robot as a feeling deduction unit. But in plain speak, it looks like Sony is tinkering with another companion bot that can empathize and build long-term relationships. I mean, look at this guy. While patent drawings can be crude, the cloud-like silhouette clearly indicates a cuddly texture. And while it has no mouth, I didn't notice that until they said that. That's terrifying. It's just two big eyes with no mouth. While it has no mouth, the eyes are just big and stupid enough that I involuntarily let out an "ah" at first sight. Plus, when have you ever known a Japanese company to utterly fail at making something cute and lovable?
Every time.
They
all look creepy and freaky. Remember the Furby? Remember Furby?
Yes. Oh no.
That thing wanted to eat you. Okay.
Okay. So the Furby was just a Gen 1 gremlin.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like that's all it was. Like I never understood that. I'm like, it's not a Furby. It's a gremlin. It's just a pink gremlin. Like you just took a gremlin and painted it pink.
And now they're giving a weird cloud thing an AI.
Yeah, so that's what it says here. It's going to use microphones, biometric and motion sensors, motors, and cameras to analyze a person's emotions and behaviors, and then react accordingly. The patent says the robot could potentially identify various emotions such as joy, anger, love, and surprise based on how you react to content or even the robot itself. For instance, okay, so this is where it starts getting crazy.
There's just a patent.
It's just a patent. Grant, this is nothing like, this is coming out, Sony's making this tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's still weird that they spent the money and time to pay for this patent. So, for instance, according to the patent, if you take your dandy time charging the robot after it's notified you, the robot will take that to mean that you don't love it. And that in turn may result in the robot being less likely to cheer you on when you play games.
And that's when you get murdered and you're...
I know, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, this is a murder bot. If you mistreat it, you're going to wake up and this big fuzzy cloud's going to be like on your chest with a knife. That's what's going to happen.
You're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to see like a spear or javelin right through your television. Like, oh, you don't love me? Well, take this. I'll take away your video games.
It says that also applies to if you kick the robot as opposed to petting it or telling it to be quiet when it interacts with you. Though, why would anyone be so mean?
This is a real thing we're reading right now. We're not making any of this up. This is an actual patent from Sony. Let that sink in.
At first, it seemed like a late April Fool's joke or something. I'm like, no, this is real. This is a real thing.
Today's 420, though.
It is 420, so maybe is something to this.
It could be a 420 joke. I did see.
IGN put out the Mandalorian. No, the Mandalorian one. Did you see the Mandalorian trailer?
No, I didn't. I saw the Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series XXL.
I didn't see that. Go over to IGN and watch their Mandalorian Season 2 trailer. It's really good. Oh man, I need to check out the Xbox one too.
It's like 400% bigger. So they show like the regular size, and then it blows up to like this huge tower.
Yes,
that's so good. It looks like a pyramid from Egypt.
Nice. Yeah, where was it? It's not in this article. I was reading another article where basically, if you
this has got to be a 420 joke.
If you treat it really poorly, like it starts like ignoring you or like not being as supportive or not being kind. Like basically if you're treating it like a jerk, like it's going to treat you like a jerk back. I'm like, what is the point of this? Like, why would you want that? Why would I buy a little robot that if I start getting a little snarky with it, it's going to fight me back? Like, that's just so weird.
It's a joke. It's just got to be a joke.
It can't. I mean, if you think.
I'll put
hang on. I'm clicking. No, I clicked right here.
$5 next week. It's a joke.
There's a direct link to the patent, the uspto.gov. This is the patent office government website. I'm looking at the patent here.
You're freaking kidding.
Okay, you know what? Screen share one more time. We're gonna. This thing's so stupid. Application window. Windows.
Oh,
you see this?
My word.
PDF AIW.uspto.gov. See that up there? And then over here, United States patent application publication. This was published on April 16th, so it's just 4 days old. There's that beautiful picture we saw earlier.
Oh my gosh.
And then, let me fix this for the recording. It'll be easier to do.
Who are they
this later.
making this for then?
And then there's also, it's sideways, but there's the cloud sitting on the couch next to someone playing a video game. There's cameras, there's control units, there's mechanisms.
What?
This is like, oh, wait a second.
That's an Oculus. That's a
PSVR. That's a PSVR. Oh boy, we're getting deep in this now. What in the world is this man doing while you're in VR? I don't like this at all. I don't want to take my eyes off this thing. Why would I put a mask on my head?
I'm never getting one of these. That would be the biggest waste of money and time. Like, I don't need a friend that bad. I got my wife. I got my 3 kids. I'm set. I'm set for an audience. If I need someone to watch me play video games, I can just ask any of my kids to come in.
Yeah, I don't know who this is geared towards because, yeah, it seems like based off of the fact that it's so...
Get a pet. Just get a dog or a cat.
I don't know.
Don't get this.
Because it just seems too weird for a kid to have it. Like, I would not want my kid to have it. It's too smart for a kid, but it's also too smart for an adult too. And weird. Yeah. Like a cute, imagine me like going to work and carrying this cute cuddly little cloud with me to work. Like,
sorry, I actually stepped on it this morning. I have to work double time to make it feel like I'm nice to it again.
Yeah, it's not this article. Someone else, I was listening to another podcast talk about it. They had a different article, but actually talked about how, like, if it does not feel loved. Like, yeah, it like, I mean, right at the beginning, it says that it's the goal of it, like the purpose of it is to build long-term relationships.
That's such an existential question. Like, how do you train a robot to feel loved? You got to program the 5 different love languages into it, apparently.
It's terrifying is what it is. I don't know how I feel about it.
What if the robot doesn't speak your love language? Or vice versa?
Right.
You're really screwed. You didn't get any gifts.
Oh no, man. It's scary. So there's that. So look forward to that coming to a store near you this holiday season. No, I don't know that for sure. It doesn't say that in the article, but I really hope not. Sorry for you audio listeners. You get to miss out. Although you can go to supergamerboys.com/YouTube and check this out. Or just type in Sony fuzzy robot and be prepared to be terrified.
Yep.
Cool.
I think it doesn't have a mouth. And it doesn't have any thumbs. So you know it can't pick up any knives or guns. Okay.
That's probably on purpose. In case the AI gets too smart. It's like, we don't want to take any chances. We don't want to chuck you situation here.
It unites all the other robots in a world domination.
Oh, no.
It sounds like a Rick and Morty episode.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, it's so
Rick
crazy.
And Morty, they're going to have a lot of fun with that robot if it comes out.
Oh, man. I hope they do.
I'm telling you, Morty. This is not a joke, Morty. Oh, gee, I don't know, Rick. It's just a robot. We're just playing games together. Yeah, sure. You're playing games now.
Oh, no. So good. Cool. Well, let's get into our last news story here. So this is actually a story, one we cut last week, and I'm glad I did because just like I predicted, it developed further. So last week, we got a simple tweet on the Crysis Twitter that just said, like, I forget what it even said. I can't find the tweet now, but like incoming transmission or something like that. Like it was like very simple, just like, or like downloading data or something like that. That was it. It was just like, receiving data. It was 2 words. They have not tweeted since December 13th of 2016. So their first tweet in, what's that, like 3 years?
2016, that's 4 years. Ish.
But December, so like 3 in a few months.
So 5 years.
5 years. So their first tweet in 5 years is receiving data, all caps. And then the next day they put out a tweet that said, "Hey Nomad, you're still with us?" ? And then April 16th, they announced Cloak disengaged. You've been asking, you've been waiting. Today, that wait is over. It's coming. Crysis remastered on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and for the very first time on the Nintendo Switch platform.
It's going to run like crap on the Switch.
That's what I'm thinking. So
unless
there's
they
not
have
much.
unless there's somebody really good at porting. So I hear the Witcher port really isn't too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like horrible
But I don't know.
graphic wise, but like as far as like textures and stuff, it's really like down resed. But I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard it runs all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did. Where does it say in the news story? It should say here. In the headline, it says, it doesn't say in the article. Oh, right here. So according to the official description on the site, Crysis Remastered will have new graphic features, higher quality textures, and CryEngine's native hardware and API agnostic ray tracing solution. So yeah, was anyone really clamoring for this? I don't know. Like maybe there's a ton of people out there who are clamoring for this game.
I forgot about that game.
But
It's an amazing game.
the biggest thing I'm interested in is when this game came out, though, it was known as like it just like killed PCs. Like there wasn't hardly a PC out there that could run the thing. Like it was known as it was a graphical benchmark. Like if your computer could run it, you were probably working on a supercomputer at NASA or something.
Yeah.
So my thought is like, first off, do you think they beef it up enough to like, is it gonna struggle on like today's PCs? And even if it doesn't, even if it runs just fine on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, how in the world are they going to make it run on Switch? Like if the base game that came out 10 years ago was crashing systems, how in the world are they going to make it run on a Nintendo Switch, a remastered, like upgraded version? Like that just seems, I don't know.
I was listening to another podcast about it this morning, actually, and they were saying that the game itself isn't going to be like a remake, like Final Fantasy VII or the Resident Evil 2 or 3. They're just beefing it up, and they're basically
strictly just a remaster. Yeah,
it's a remaster with some really high quality textures.
Okay,
but there is you just listed it, I forgot the name of it, but it's basically like an API that they built that will run. If I understood what they're talking about correctly, it should, for graphic cards that are capable of ray tracing, but don't have the ray tracing enabled or something like that. It's like an API that will basically circumvent that and activate ray tracing for the game itself.
Oh, wow.
So you can get ray tracing quality in the game.
Even if you don't have a graphical card that's typically compatible with it?
Yeah, exactly. So
that seems like it's a lot of stress on a graphics card, though. Like, that sounds like it's asking to start bricking systems.
Yeah, well, I mean, they obviously have a way to do it to make sure it doesn't break. I think I forgot exactly how they explain it, but basically, say all that to say, one way or another, it will support ray tracing, and so that game already looks pretty good. Even if you go back to it now, it still looks really good.
Yeah, I was looking at it last week when those tweets were first coming out. You can find, like, go to YouTube and look it up, like a modern day PC running it at like ultra, the highest specs, and like and modded, so with like higher graphical settings and stuff, and it still looks freaking amazing.
Like, well, they already had a remaster of it that came out. They had an HD remaster that came out like on Xbox and PlayStation back in the day.
Right, just for Xbox and PS3?
3.
No, that's not right, because it was originally a PS3 and... Or no, it was originally a PC game, and then it came to PS3 and Xbox 360 later.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But so again, like was that a remaster, though, or just a port? I don't think it was a remaster.
It was they dropped an HD textures to it. Because if you think about it, when that game came out, there was no HD.
Right. Huh. Interesting.
So they ended up made it an HD remaster of it, which looked great. And then they they're going to make another one that's going to have ray tracing. So the problem is this, I don't know if this is a game that I want to spend any more time on again, just because I want to see. Here's the thing. Yes, graphics are awesome. Yes, graphics make games look good, and graphics can help you get immersed into a game. But after you beat that game, and it still plays the same, and they haven't changed any of the mechanics or given you any real reason to actually go back through, I'm kind of like, I'm out. Like, unless those mechanics are really good, like Doom, okay? After you beat Doom, like, hey, go back through and play with all the cheat codes on. It's like, yeah, that sounds like fun. I'll go do that. You know, it's not like, hey, go play it through again. It's going to look a little better this time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I come out on this. I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend the money or time to play through Crysis again. I haven't played through the first one all the way. I just kind of started it.
Yeah, I feel like I never completely finished it, honestly. Like, I played for a little bit. My buddy had it, played on PS3 for a while. I'm like, oh, this is fun enough. Yeah. And it looked beautiful, obviously, even on PS3. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting if it's how it holds up, like story-wise, gameplay-wise, that type of thing. There is a little comment here. So if you support us at the $5 or above level, you can get the show notes early, like I mentioned earlier, and over at patreon.com/supergamerboys. And Derek Peterson commented and just said, Hunt Showdown is better. So if you don't know, Crysis is made by Crytek, is the name of the development studio, and that's also the name of their
engine,
their game engine that they build their games and everything out of. And so Hunt Showdown, made by Crytek, made in the Crytek engine. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see and pit them against each other, see how they actually stand up, because Hunt is pretty amazing looking, but we'll see if it's how it stands up against a remaster of one of the best looking games of all time, kind of thing, in its time. Yeah. And Hunt Showdown, that's a fun game. It's a fun game. I don't know how it'll, it'll be interesting how thinking more about gameplay, how Crysis will update that, because I'm trying to remember, even like control wise, like, was it pretty standard, because it's a first person game, was it pretty standard, like first person controls then, or was there, I'm trying to remember if there was any like weird gimmicks and stuff, because I feel like during that time there was a lot of gimmicky things like that.
The premise of it was that you're basically like a super soldier that has a suit, and the suit can switch between, like, you know, your melee options, your stealth options, and like I think like speed was like another one, so you can go really fast. So the main mechanic the game centered around was being able to switch between these different suit abilities.
Okay.
So it'll, you know, so I see one or two things happening here. First of all, this game came out when I was in high school, and it's a shot for them to revitalize a game that might appeal to another group, basically like a new generation of gamers. But they're going to have to do a whole lot to really get, like, that generation of gamers isn't going to understand what made Crysis so good back in the day. Like, Crysis wasn't just, you know, the end all be all in terms of graphics. It was the end all be all in terms of FPS gaming on PC. Like,
right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I didn't realize this game came out in 2007. I was 14 years old.
2006, I would have been. I graduated in 2006, so I would have been actually a year into college when that game came out.
Okay, I was a solo 14-year-old baby.
Yeah, little Nino. We wouldn't have been friends.
No, definitely not. It would have been creepy. It would have been really creepy.
Why hang out with a 14-year-old? I don't know. They haven't invented the cloud doll yet, so I need someone to cheer me on while I play games.
Don't ever call me your cloud doll again. Don't compare me to cloud.
Yeah, cloud AI.
Okay. Well, and with that, let's move on here. Yeah, now's the time of the show where we talk about our Patreon. So if you haven't, go check it out, patreon.com/supergamerboys. You can support us over there for just $1 a month. You get the show early and ad-free, the audio versions, through your own private RSS feed. Pretty fancy. Even has some fancy artwork. I think it's called Super Gamer Boys Deluxe. I don't know if the artwork's gone through. I updated it. I need to check on my app and see if it's gone through, but get it a couple days early. Usually I'll try to get it out the night we record. So tonight look forward to it. Well, 2 days ago, look forward to it. $5 and above, you get the show notes when I create them. I usually try to make them Thursday or Friday, but life's been so crazy on Thursdays and Fridays that it's been more like Saturday, Sunday. But either way, you get a notification. You get the email that they're live on Patreon. You can go leave your comments just like Derek did earlier, and he has another comment later on. And then let's see, we have our $10 and above is basically you get all those perks, those earlier perks, plus shout out on the show. You are a sponsor, Patreon sponsor. So we shout you out. JJ makes fun of you. And we, pour our praises out on you because you guys, kill it by supporting us at such a high level. It's crazy. And we have our producer level, $15 a month. We don't have a producer right now. We previously had one. It's a blast to have a producer who we can go back and forth with, shoot ideas back and forth. And you just get a little more hands-on. Our producer previously, we had our segment Losing Reviews. Matt Liu gave us terrible movies to watch, and we reviewed them every week, every couple of weeks. It was a blast for a while. Well, to an extent. Mortal Kombat's not a great film, but it was fun making fun of it on the episode. Yeah. So if you want to make us do terrible things against our will because you pay us money at $15 a month, then you can do that. But yeah.
That's terrible.
Go check it out. Patreon.com/SuperGamerBoys. It helps us, keep things running, buy games, keep lights on, and keep JJ's belly full, because when he gets hangry, boy, you don't want to see him when he's hangry. All right, let's get back to this show. Alrighty, some new releases here. So there was no releases. I just threw this one in here because I thought it was bizarre. Dead by Daylight, the asymmetrical multiplayer game that you all know and love on PS4, PC, Xbox One, Switch, now on April 16th has come to iOS and Android.
Ooh. Sign me up.
That sounds terrible.
If PUBG can survive on mobile, I think Dead by Daylight's got a chance.
But PUBG is a first person or third person. It's a shooter game. Fortnite is a shooter game. Call of Duty Mobile, shooter game. They're all very, there's just a certain control scheme that works
Skyrim? What about that?
That's not on phones.
Blades.
That's not Skyrim.
Elder Scrolls Blades.
It's not Skyrim. There's a certain control scheme that works well on a mobile device. And when I think of Dead by Daylight and other asymmetrical multiplayer games, using a touchscreen where I'm covering half the screen with my thumbs and I can't see where the bad guy is, does not sound...
You can hook your PlayStation controller up to it.
Yeah, you're right. But even still, I don't know.
Is it too hard to play games with your PlayStation controller on your phone? Is that what you're saying?
It's hard to play games on a phone, period. That's what I'm trying to say. Every time I try to play a game on my phone, I've talked about, I have the xCloud preview on my phone. I've tried to play Halo a few times, like Master Chief Collection on there. And after a while, it just gets so hard. I'm squinting because the things are tiny on there. Even though I have an 8+, I have a pretty big screen on my phone. It's small for a video game. Text is tiny. The grunts in Halo are very tiny, very hard to see.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So I can't imagine Dead by Daylight when you have to be super uber aware of where this person is and everything that's chasing you down and where your teammates are and what's going on. It's this little screen on a tablet. Oh, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Fired up on an iPad, I'm 100% on board with that. But just on Android and iOS, I'm ooh, that doesn't sound fun at all.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I don't know. I threw it on there because I thought it was more humorous than anything. But cool. Let's get into some what you've been playing. So I will let you take the floor, Zech.
Okay. Well, we've both been playing the same game.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna touch on the games that aren't the game that we've both been playing, and then we'll both jump into our like that. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So my first impressions for two separate games I had a chance to basically turn on and play through a little bit. Number one was Control, which was a lot of people's game of the year last year. PlayStation had a sale for there's something like $30. I was like, okay, I could jump into Control for $30.
Which is now on PlayStation Now. So if you sign up for a year of PS Now for $42.99, you not only get access to Control, but hundreds of other games.
Are you going to start sending people like an affiliate link or something on the show?
I wish. If Sony gave me an affiliate link, man, I'd pimp that out so quick.
So here's my dilemma jumping into this game. So you remember Alan Wake?
Yes, that's the same developers.
Remedy, right?
Yeah.
So did you ever beat Alan Wake?
So I never played Alan Wake because I was an Xbox.
Okay, it's been ported to PC. I think Epic Game Store gave it away for free.
You're right. It is on PC now, but yeah, I've heard of it. I've seen gameplay of it. I've never played it myself though, because it was even though it was on 360, I had a 360. I just didn't touch it in that time period because I was a dumb kid who just played Call of Duty Nazi zombies.
Here's my thing. When Alan Wake came out, I bought it used at GameStop. And I was like, cool, right on. So I bought it. I beat that game in a week. And by the time I got to the end, I was so mad at the ending that I took the game back and got all my money back. Because back in the day, you could buy a game used at GameStop, you return it in a week, you get all your money back. So far, Control, Alan Wake and Control have this very similar feel where it has like this really eerie, creepy, mind-bending storyline. And you're like, this is obviously going to be one of those things where you're not going to understand what's going on until like the very end of the game. So I'm like playing it and I'm kind of apprehensive because I felt so burned by the ending of Alan Wake that I'm like, how much time do I want to commit to this thing before I find out I hate the ending, if I hate the ending? So I don't know. The gameplay in it is pretty cool so far. I haven't had a chance to really jump into it, but those are my first impressions of it. It's an absolutely gorgeous game, absolutely well acted. I can see why a lot of people would rank this. If it continues on this trajectory of being weird but still fun, then I can see why a lot of people would make it the game of the year. So I'm interested to have a more detailed report the farther along I get into it. But those are just kind of my first impressions. I'm a little apprehensive on it.
I don't think this is a spoiler because they already announced it all over the place, but the DLC basically confirms that Alan Wake and Control are in the same universe. So they are connected.
So screw that game. I'm done.
So if you didn't like Alan Wake, I guess there's some DLC that's either come out already or is coming out that basically confirms it, and there's hints I guess throughout the game, and then there's DLC I think in the artwork for the DLC it's like Alan Wake with his little flashlight or whatever, so they're connected. It's all the same worlds. So I don't know. I feel bad if that kind of spoiled the whole experience for you, but I mean it's been all over news sites and stuff for a while, so it's just just so you know what you're getting into since you hated Alan Wake.
You should know.
Maybe it's not worth maybe it's not worth putting all the time and effort if you already hated Alan Wake. I don't know. Although there are some people who nominated Control for Game of the Year last year. People really loved it.
A lot of people nominated it for Game of the Year. A lot of people I respect. But a lot of people, those same people also nominated Alan Wake too. My problem with Alan Wake wasn't the gameplay. My problem with Alan Wake wasn't the exploration or the world building. It was really interesting. It was the plot. By the time you get to the end of it, I'm not going to spoil it, but I was like, really? Really? That's what we're doing with this? I spent all that time to find out that this is what's been going on? I was so mad. So
it's all been a dream the whole time? I've never played it. I don't know. I'm just making that up. But
we'll have more discussion on this offline.
Okay. I feel bad if I totally just blew something up for you, but for everyone out there. Yeah.
But anyway, it's interesting. The real thing I can't wait to jump into more is a game that I actually cherish and will forever hold a special place in my heart. Fallout 76 got their new free update, Wastelanders. And let me tell you, I got to spend probably about 30 minutes to an hour running around in this revitalized world.
How many NPCs did you see?
A lot.
Yes.
So like when it first started up, it loaded me right where I initially started. And I'm like, I don't see anybody around. And my wife, who is a gaming genius, she goes, oh, usually when they update the game, they usually have you go back to the start of it. So I was like, okay. So sure enough, I went back to Vault 76 and came out. And, or not came out, but like just like warped there. I was like, oh, there's some people. Those people send you on a quest. And you go talk to more people and give you more quests. So it is very, from my initial impressions of it, the quests are all kind of lame. It's like, oh, there's a treasure buried in Appalachia. We just have to go find it. So it's
okay.
Pretty weak sauce reason to go exploring, but...
Does it feel like it's building to an actual like storyline though? Like it could be a full-fledged Fallout type game, or is it literally just like fetch quest type things?
That's all Fallout is, bro. All Fallout is fetch quests. But
there is an overarching story still, where in 76 up until now, there's no...
And right now, it's the same. There's no... Fallout 76 already had an overarching story, which was, hey, you got to go figure out how to build a world here. This one's more of a... It sticks true to the roots of what 76 was meant to be, which was a playground.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like 76 wasn't supposed to be a Fallout 3 or Fallout 4 with like a, hey, go save your son or go find your dad. It was... Go explore.
Go
go repopulate the earth.
Repopulate the earth,
yeah. And that's fine. Like, and I think that was why it was such a turnoff to a lot of people. And what makes that game fun is going to be playing it with friends. And so NPCs in the game isn't going to change that. I think I'm still going to have more fun with the game if I can play it with friends. But it's definitely a step in the right path. Yeah, I can see why it took them so long to actually build it out, just because it's going to have a lot of trails to go follow. So, and it uses some elements of stuff that was already there, like the mayor of Grafton. One person was like, oh, go talk to the Grafton mayor. He'll have some more stuff for you to do. So it's like, it's still, as I said, it revitalizes the world, I feel.
Okay. So. Yeah, because I mean, that was, I don't know. It's just, that was... I played just a little bit, like a couple hours of Fallout 76, and my problem was I didn't have the friends to play with. I didn't have, the connections on PS4, so I was just playing alone. I'm like, this sucks, and I wanted a Fallout 3, New Vegas, Fallout 4 experience, and just wasn't getting that, and so like I bailed pretty quick. So I'm like, this isn't for me. And I agree with you. I think with more friends, like it probably would have been a game I got lost in for a while. Yeah. But I don't know. It's interesting. But that DLC was supposed to come out like last spring or something, or last fall. Year. Yeah, it got pretty heavily delayed like a couple times. I think it got delayed because it was supposed to come out even earlier this year, and then got delayed again till now. So I don't know. At least it finally came out. But man, what a journey it's been.
Yeah, but
cool.
It's definitely a good reason to go check out that game again, especially since it's free. So,
the DLC is free.
The DLC is free, not the game.
Right.
Yeah. But,
although the game is so cheap, you can get it used for so stinking cheap because everyone hated on it so much, even though it's not necessarily a bad game. It's just got so much hate. Like you can go to GameStop and get it for like dirt cheap.
Yeah. It still glitches.
Does it really?
I was playing on Xbox One X. I have it on Xbox One X, and then here's how crazy I am. I bought it on Xbox One X, and then I bought it twice on PC. Bought it once for me and once for my wife because I wanted to play with my wife.
You can get it pre-owned. Pre-owned for $10. So go get a pre-owned copy of Fallout 76 for $10. Yeah, there you go. And it even comes with 500 atomic things. Currency.
That'd be awesome. I would love to play with anybody on there. So hit me up. Because that'd be great. I'll put it in our Super Gamer Boys Xbox group.
Heck yeah!
Cool. Anyway, those are my sentiments.
Cool. I'm glad you're enjoying it for what it is.
Yeah.
And it just gives you an excuse to jump back in a world you already enjoyed.
It's beautiful.
That's always a good thing. It is that's the thing. Like when I first jumped in, I'm like, it looks amazing. I so wanted Fallout 76 to be more because I just love the aesthetic, like that West Virginia, like Appalachia, like all of that is like, okay, this is up my alley. All like the weird like folktale monsters like Mothman and all this stuff. I'm like, this is awesome stuff. Like I'm all about this. And then for it to be what it was and me not to have the connections to like play it, I'm like, oh, this is a bummer. Like I wish it was a regular Fallout, because this world that you created is exactly what like I enjoy.
Yeah.
Like all the things I love and enjoy, just without all the people and story to make it cool.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a bummer. So I don't know if anyone's out there that plays on PS4, let me know. I mean, I'm pretty busy at this point with other games, but in the future, I'd definitely be interested in trying it again, especially in the next few months as games stop coming out because of COVID-19. So it'd be, might be worth going back and trying it again when there's not a new game to play.
That's another thing that we should talk about someday. But yeah, GameStop. I don't think they're ever coming back.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
I think COVID-19 is a death knell.
I'd be shocked if I was already thinking, oh, I wouldn't be surprised if they were dead by the end of the year. And then this happened. I'm like, oh no, yeah, it really would not be surprising at all if they were non-existent by the end of the year or next fiscal year, like next March, April.
They had Reggie Fils-Aimé on their board. So there was hope for a second, and then pandemic hit.
Yeah, I mean, he's still technically on the board, but it's like, what can you do? Like, what do you do? Like,
the pandemic is literally tied to your hands. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. So, although anyway. they're trying. I get an email like every other day, like, oh, essential work from home, blah, blah, blah. Here's deals on keyboards and mice and headsets for your business calls. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you're not fooling anyone. Quit fooling yourself, guys.
I feel bad for the marketing team. That's some tricky waters to navigate.
Right. So what's the third game you've been playing?
Oh, the third game?
We've been playing.
I don't know. Have you heard of a little game that everybody's been talking about? I don't know. You might have been seeing it bounce around in your Twitter feed from time to time, called Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I have heard of that one once or twice, and I have, in fact, been playing it.
Oh, have you now? Interesting, because I have too.
Indeed.
Can we sound a little too ridiculous for everybody out there now? Yeah, we good? Call it? All right. So, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
So yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, because in the Discord, you kind of put out this statement that kind of gave me the immediate thought like, oh, Zech is just, this is complete. I don't know what your thoughts are, so this is no spoiler for what your review is going to be, but I was like, Zech hates this game. He hates it. Like what you said really set it up like you are disappointed and you do not like it. And I even texted you right away. You're like, wait for the podcast. I'm like, oh man. So I've been waiting on eggshells, or waiting on the edge of my seat. I'm bad with like the little phrases tonight. I said that wrong one earlier. Right now I just said I've been sitting on eggshells. Like that's not what you do.
You could sit on eggshells because technically it's different. You are sitting down.
Yeah.
It works.
I've been on the edge of my seat though to hear what's going on in your head thinking about this game. So go.
Okay, so let me say right out the gate, I think this game is still overrated. Okay? Now, with that said, I am loving the crap out of it. It is a contender for my game of the year. I overrated. I think that a lot of people are giving it like a perfect score. This game is not a perfect score to me. I still have some issues with it, but this game is outstanding. It blew my expectations away in so many ways. So, have you played Final Fantasy VII? If I remember right, you played a little bit of it, right?
So the original one, I bought it on Switch like last year sometime, and I played up through. I think am I in like the sewers or something? After you do the whole like dress up thing, cross dressing thing, then you like drop into the sewers. I got even quite a bit into that, and then for some reason my game didn't save one time, so it put me all the way back to I now have to go find a dress for the dress up thing. And so I was like, I don't want to do all that all over again. Like I was like 2 or 3 hours beyond that. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like later I'll go back, which just I'll talk about it a little later. Or, after you give more of your impressions, but this is making me want to go back and play the original now, to be honest. But
it doesn't
you continue on.
It doesn't make me want to play the original. I don't want to go back and play the original. The original to me is a good game for what it was at the time, but it did not age well. Graphically, story, interesting world, cool characters, but yeah, what Final Fantasy VII Remake did really well is it took this discombobulated mess that was Final Fantasy VII and was like, okay, we're not just gonna copy and paste scene for scene the whole thing. We're actually gonna add so much more story and so much more depth to characters, and characters that were literally like footnotes in the original Final Fantasy VII story are like major players in this story.
Even just the fact that, so okay, like for me to get to that the the dress scene in the original game on my Switch took me only a total of like 3 or 4 hours to get to, if that, maybe. I have not even hit that scene in the remake, and I'm just hit 10 hours.
Yeah.
See? So it's beefy. The remake's beefy.
There's so much more content in it, and that's what blew me away. I was like, "You're gonna sell me a third of a game?" Like, no.
I know we were all like furious when we kind of, not all of us. A lot of people. Some people were confused. Some people were furious, depending on where you stood on the whole, like how much you love the original. Like we were all just like, "How's this going to work? How do you sell a third of a game?" And then, playing this, it's like, this isn't a third of a game. This is a whole game. This is huge.
It's a whole Final Fantasy game. Okay. Yeah. So let me start off. Number one, the thing that I love about the most, I love the artwork. I love the graphics. Okay. That's kind of a given. Like everybody who looks at this game, you'd be an idiot not to think that this game has just absolutely outstanding graphics.
It's beautiful.
You can tell
although
that they're, what?
You keep going. You
can tell that a lot of the graphical power is used on the characters primarily.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
that's why I wanted you to finish, because I think you're going to say it, and I didn't want to interrupt you. I've noticed, and I'm even playing on a PS4 Pro. Do you have a Pro?
Nope, I got a Slim.
Okay, I'm on a Pro, and even that, during conversations, not so in cutscenes, every inch of every surface looks spectacular.
Yeah.
In game, your character looks spectacular and everything else looks pretty good. But for some reason, whenever I have like dialogue, when it's like it's not a full cutscene, but it like zooms in and you don't have control of anything, and it's like it's them talking, dialoguing back and forth. I'll notice like in a background, like, oh, that door doesn't even have a texture on it. It's just like gray and fuzzy.
Right.
And like that bottle on the shelf of alcohol, like, is just like a blur. Like it's like, it's just like a blob. I'm like, I'm on the PS4 Pro. Like, this can handle it. Like, you can put those in there. Like, I understand on the Slim doing something like that. I'm like, those textures should at least be available for this system to like search for. It's almost like they didn't even
or
bother.
Maybe not.
They're just like, screw it.
Those characters are amazing looking.
Amazing,
the pores in their skin, which for anybody else would be gross, but for the level of detail they give these characters is insane.
No, it's a good thing.
Hair follicle.
good thing our webcam, my webcam isn't that good, because
mine's blurry on purpose.
I have a very very porous nose. Unfortunately, it's a genetic trait that I hate. So
it's okay. Some people got porous noses. But second thing is the storytelling and world building, which is something I didn't care for really in Final Fantasy VII. Which is interesting because I like the characters of Final Fantasy VII, and I fell in love with Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, the movie. Remember that? I don't know if you ever watched that.
I never saw it, but I remember when it came out. It was one of those things I wanted to watch it, and just because of my age, my parents were like, no, you can't watch that. I'm like, okay. I just never went and watched it. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, I remember watching that. I own like the special collector's edition of that DVD, and amazing. Okay, super cool, but I never understood it.
You still have that DVD?
I do, yeah.
I would like to.
No, you can't borrow my stuff. You can't touch my stuff. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'll loan it to you next time I see you.
I see how it
is. That's kidding.
Jeez, man.
I was playing. Dude, you can borrow it anytime. I keep kind of comparing Final Fantasy VII Remake to that movie, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to get farther in this game so I could understand more about that movie. Which is a testament to how terrible the storytelling and stuff was in the first one. So I think that I feel that what 7 Remake does is basically the super director's cut version of Final Fantasy VII. It's the game they wish they could have made when they made Final Fantasy VII. And you can tell that every bit of love that they had for that franchise and that story is poured into this game. Every scene, every shot was so well thought of. Like, I am enthralled in the story in this version. I absolutely love it.
How do you feel about some of like I think, well, because I just hit chapter 8 or 9, I forget. I think it's 8 or 9. You're in chapter 6 or 7, I think you said?
Yeah, I'm like 6 hours deep, and I finally hit chapter 5. I'm like halfway through chapter 5.
Oh, 5, okay. Yeah, and so we've only had one section so far. I know there's more later on from what I've heard from other people. How do you feel about some of like the little more like questy, like, doing all like the random little like side quests and stuff? Because I'm a completionist, obviously, and so in that first section, I went through and did all those side quests. I'm like, I can't stop till I have them all. I can't stop because that's just me. I'm like that's why open world games like Fallout and Horizon Zero Dawn and stuff like that like take me ages forever. Because I can't stop myself. I can't help myself. But I honestly, as dumb as some of them are, like going and finding cats around town, like I still was like this loving being in the world. But how are you feeling about like some of the side quests? How did you like those or?
Yeah, so I think it does. So it kind of does side quests kind of like Final Fantasy 15. I think that's another thing what I like about it too. Is Final Fantasy 15 is one of my all-time favorite Final Fantasies. Like, I love Final Fantasy. Don't get me wrong. I've been a Final Fantasy fan since I think 10 was technically like I think Final Fantasy 2 in the US. So Final Fantasy 4 was the first one I ever played, and I loved it. I was like a little kid. But Final Fantasy 10 was the first one that I was like, wow, that was an amazing story. So I played every single Final Fantasy ever since then, and even gone back and played through parts of 7 and parts of most of 8 until my save got corrupted. But what this game does really well is it blends them pretty well. Like the Final Fantasy 15's combat mixed with like the storytelling of the older Final Fantasies. So like to answer your question about side quests, it's not exactly open world as much as like a traditional RPG would be.
Right.
And that's based on the chapters. So like you got these side quests that are just kind of more modular, which isn't bad because okay, the side quest is just going to happen within this time frame. It's not something I can have to wait to go get stronger to go do. I either do it now or I don't do it at all.
Yeah, it's not something where like, I don't feel like finishing it now. I'll finish it in 10 hours. Like, no, as soon as you leave that zone, that quest is gone. Yeah. Like, so it is a little different than a normal open world type thing, but yeah.
Which is nice because I think it puts a deadline on your side quests, and you don't feel like you're diddling around for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Like, I feel like Final Fantasy 15 was like that. It's like I'd get like a side quest and be like, well, I'm too weak to go take care of those monsters. I guess I better go find something else to do. I don't even know where to go right now. So like, I don't want to continue the story. But I like the way they manage it in this game. I mean, it kind of gives for more casual gamers a chance to just enjoy a story all the way through, and then a chance for people that are more into just completing, really, wringing out every drop of their cash out of a game they can run around this world. How do you feel about the anime-esque dialogue?
It's definitely taking some getting used to because I don't necessarily watch a ton of anime or anything like that, but I don't know. I also like weirdly have been kind of just like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like, is out of place as it seems sometimes. What is it? Wedge and Biggs. Yep. Like, especially Wedge, like when he's just like, oh, my tank is empty. I need to fill up. I need to go get some pizza. Like in the middle of a mission, you're like going to like bomb a Mako reactor. And it's just like, dude, like chill out. Like this is serious business. And you're complaining about, wanting some pizza or whatever. Or like the way like, Jesse like interacts with Cloud and stuff like that. It's like, okay, it's a little over the top. It's like, so very like anime-esque, very hardcore, like, okay, this is they went a certain direction, and they really kind of drove it home. They were like, okay, this is what we're going for, and that's what we're doing. And so on one hand, it's like it caught me off guard only because, and I don't know if I've talked about this on an episode, but I don't really. I've tried. So I've played a lot of the Final Fantasy games. I don't think, or I know, I've never beat one. I've never beat a Final Fantasy game. They're those games that in my head, similar to like Pokemon I've explained. Well, back in the day I loved Pokemon, but how I am with Pokemon today, where in theory I love Pokemon, but the way Sword and Shield ended up, I didn't love it enough to beat it. Like I was like, this is whatever. That's how I've always felt about Final Fantasy, where in theory, like I love them. Like I always loved the aesthetic, and the characters are always kind of cool and crazy and like, oh, like just different. I don't know, compared to anything else I played growing up as, an American white male who lived in the country, grew up working on a farm and stuff like that. Yeah. For me to go from like shooter, Call of Duty, or back in the day, Medal of Honor on PS1, PS2, to like anything that was like Japanese influence. I think that's one of the reasons I love Metal Gear so much, because it's like an American story, but very like Japanese still, like has those influences. And so, yeah, it definitely caught me off guard, but I was like, I like it. Like, I don't know, there's something about it. I like the cheekiness of it. I like the weird goofiness of it, even if it is out of place.
Yeah. It's not bad. Okay.
I was just gonna say, I just at the part of the game where I'm at now, I'm kind of meeting back up with Aerith. Is that her name?
Mm-hmm. Iris.
Or I think, well, that was her name originally. They changed it in Remake. I think it's Aerith in this game.
Oh. Well, I know her name was Iris and Iris on like so many different translations on the old one, so I don't.
Yeah, so I think it was originally like Eris or Iris or something, and they changed it to Aerith with a TH in this game.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Anyways, so the flower girl, like there's definitely some, like they go a little over the top with her. Like the whole section I just finished playing literally like a couple hours ago, I was just like, okay, that's a little over the top. Like, I don't know how much more of this character I can handle, but I know I've only just technically like met the character, and there's going to be a lot more character development with her. And so I'm like, I'm sure it's not going to be like this forever, but at least at first it's like, oh, wow. Okay. She's like, you could tell like she has a serious side, but she's really playing up this cutesy ditzy side. And you can tell it's just a troll cloud. And honestly, it's like one of those things where it's like trolling me and like getting on my nerves too. I'm just like, I know you can be like a normal human being. Like, why are you doing this? Like, stop trolling me. Like, and so, yeah, it's just one of those things where I was like, okay, I can't wait until she finally develops and stops like acting all like, oh, I'm so dumb and cute. Cause it's like, I know you're not. Like, I know you're smart, and I know you can, like, you're capable of this, but you're just like being like, that's whatever.
That's a regular anime trope. Like, that's like a regular thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I am loving this game. So that's, with all that to say about me, like, as far as my history, I always loved him in theory and never beat him. This one, I'm like, oh, I'm 100% in. And I think a reason I bailed on Final Fantasy 15 before is because the combat scared me, because I never played 13. That's the one I didn't play. So the whole like real-time action kind of combat that 15 has and everything like that, and 7 has, I just wasn't expecting it. I knew Final Fantasy as the basically like, oh, you stop and take turns, and that's how combat works. And so jumping into 15 kind of freaked me out. But now that I understand how the combat works in 7, and honestly, I'm loving some of like the story beats and just everything going on, I'm interested in checking out 15 again, and even trying some of the older ones over again, because I've just never revisited them.
10.
I played them. 10 is one I played the death out of was it a Pizza Hut demo disc? Because on PS2, I had like a Pizza Hut demo disc that had Final Fantasy X demo on it.
Wow.
And I played like the first hour of that game over and over and over and over again. And I've never played the full version, but it's on PlayStation now, I'm pretty sure. So I might go back and play it.
The end of 10 is one of the best endings to a game I have ever played. Like, it was emotional and sad for all the right reasons. That game is awesome. That's one of my favorite games of all time.
So yeah, if anything, like with all this, like with everything I've played so far, I'm 100% in and loving Final Fantasy, and it's honestly like reinvigorating this kind of like this love that I had for the idea of it, and even pushing that further, like not just loving the idea of it, but also like, no, I actually want to get into more of these the older classics and like actually play them, and not just like love them because I love the aesthetic, but love them because, you know, I actually play the game and I love the games and characters and stuff. So it's really, that's why I mentioned earlier, I'm interested in checking out 7, the original. I mean, I own it on Switch already, and it's like, you know what, like I know it's going to be different, and everyone has their opinions, whether it's good or bad, but if anything, out of curiosity, like, okay, like what was changed? What was added? What was taken out? I mean, already in the first, from what I've played so far, I'm like, holy cow, yeah, a lot's different, but I'm curious how the rest of it goes. And I want to know the whole story. Like, this is, like you said, the remake's only a third of the game. It's like, I want to know how the whole story ends. Like, of course I'm going to go play the original. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
I want to chat about the combat system real quick.
Okay.
Because this is one of the best combat systems I've ever played.
It's pretty good.
It's really interesting in the sense where, like, you know, like when you play Final Fantasy 15, it's like you can kind of set the AI of your buddies to do different things. Kind of same thing with like 13 was like, you know, you have like your auto battle and you do stuff like that. Especially 12, the AI system in 12 was like a really big key component. What this game is different is it kind of abandons that artificial intelligence, you know, programming your people to do certain moves at a certain time, and actually you end up controlling your entire party in real time and not just focusing in on a single character.
And you have to. I just hit a boss battle, like right before the chapter I just got to, and I was like, holy cow, like if I don't switch, I die. Like you have to. Like they force you. So you're playing all 3 players in the party, and I'm like, holy smokes, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
The way they lay it out with like the attack gauges building up and being able to be like, okay, so I'm going to attack with Cloud to get his limit break up, and then I'm going to go back to Barrett to make sure his limit breaks up. Then I can hit the summon with Cloud, execute the limit break with, you know, Barrett and Tifa. Like the way it like all just like blends together. Like once you get it and it clicks, it's like just one of the funnest combat systems you'll ever play because it's so strategic for being so quick.
Yeah, like, it's a lot. It's a lot because honestly, like, and like I said before, like that's one of the reasons I kind of bailed out of like 15 is because even that kind of freaked me out. And then like getting into this one, I'm like, honestly, for the first 9 hours, I was playing just as Cloud. Like I did not like really playing as the other characters. But then I got to this one boss battle. I'm like, oh, you have to switch. So like I died a couple times fighting this boss, but once I figured it out and clicked, and like you start figuring out the controls, like how to switch everything quick, like I go over here, like, and then also, coming up with those strategies, like how the heck do these people's powers and abilities and weapons work together? How do I make them work together? And before you go into a fight, like making sure your materia is like synergistic in that way.
Yeah.
It's like, which is huge. Like that makes a huge difference, making sure everything works together. In which like even I beat the boss battle and afterwards I'm like, if I would have just tweaked like these 2 little things, it would have been 100 times easier. Like I wish I would have just like went to a shop and bought this like these 2 items and like it would have helped me. But I was just like too like stubborn. I'm like, no, I'm gonna figure it out. It's like I'm just gonna fight my way through it. Like and I did it. I finally beat it. But I'm like, holy cow, it would have been easier if I just wasn't stubborn. I'm liking the combat a lot, and like even though it is so different than what I always thought of, and what some people might think of Final Fantasy as being just like the turn-based combat and stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's a great change. Like if future ones are like this, like 16 or whatever they end up doing for the future,
this is gonna be Final Fantasy Remake Part 2. That's the next one. But I'm just kidding. I can see why they spent so many years working on this game, though. I mean, like they were talking about this since like PS3 days. Like this is Oh,
This is one of those games that was never like it wasn't coming out. Everyone's like, "Nah, it's never coming out." And so for it to finally be here, it's like, "Holy crap, it's out!"
yeah.
And it's really good. And which has surprised me. It hit me the other day that I was so hyped for Resident Evil 3 this year. Like that was like I was super excited for it. And it's so interesting to me. It was really like this weekend I was like, man, like that was a game I was sure was going to be like game of the year contender for me. And I wasn't even planning on buying Final Fantasy VII. It's so crazy to be here now a week after Final Fantasy VII, or a week and a half. Final Fantasy VII's been out, and Resident Evil 3 is definitely not anywhere close to being game of the year for me. And this game is like, holy cow, this might be my game of the year so far. Obviously, there's Last of Us 2, maybe, I don't know, coming out. Cyberpunk, maybe coming out. Ghost of Tsushima. There's other games, but this
Halo
game, Halo Infinite. This game just really just like blew every expectation of mine out of the water because, like I said, a week and a half ago, I wasn't even going to pay for the game. I was like, I'm not even going to give it the time of day. I literally pre-ordered it the day before because you were just kind of like, dude, you got to do it. You got to do it. And then I played the demo. I'm like, the demo is really fun. And man, this game has just been a shock from beginning to end so far. I haven't finished it. I'm only 10 hours in. I can't wait for the next 20 hours, 20,
That's
30 hours.
That's awesome. I like it when a game does that.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Now this game, it kind of shocked me a little bit too, just because I wasn't expecting such a more fleshed out version of the game. I didn't really
that you
like
hate.
Yeah.
Just say it. A game that you hate.
I don't hate Final Fantasy VII. I don't hate it at all. I just think I hate how much it gets lifted up as like one of the best Final Fantasies ever, and I'm like, it's not. There's so many other Final Fantasies that are so much better than this one. Even 6 is better than 7. Go back and play through 6. But and obviously that's just my opinion. It's just how I feel. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how I feel, and I think that's why I have so much angst towards the original. But it's if anybody that was interested in Final Fantasy VII before needs to play the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like if you liked that game before, you're gonna love so much.
Those are the people who are giving it like 10 out of 10s.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like the people who already loved Final Fantasy VII are like, holy crap, this is the second coming of Christ here.
Because it's not a traditional remake. I mean, you look at Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, right? Which are kind of like in my opinion, the pinnacle of, at the time, how to do a remake, especially Resident Evil 2. Where it's like they took a concept and they made it way better. They just took an old game, dropped it into a new engine, made it more modern. What Final Fantasy did for this one was like they took an old game, like an antiquated game, and the only thing they kept was the concepts. Like, I mean, like the storytelling. Like that's the only thing. They kept the world, they kept the characters.
Very, very general storytelling. Because like we've already talked
so
about,
much
like
more
the fact that they blew up like the first 4 hours of the original game into like 20 or 30 hours of this game. Like it's crazy.
It's so good.
It's really good.
I find myself like turning it on and having a hard time turning it off. Like,
I was up until probably about 1:30 last night playing. I couldn't stop. I just kept playing, and I regret it today because I've been exhausted and had a headache all day. But I'm like, but then at the same time, like I'm like, no, I don't regret it. Like that game's amazing because I played it today on my lunch break. That's the thing. I'm playing late in the night, and then on my lunch, using remote play, that's streaming. Right now, there's no data caps because Comcast, because everything going on with COVID-19, they took away my data cap. So I've been streaming everything. Like, bring on the streams. So I'm at work just enjoying this game on my lunch break, and it's so freaking good.
That's awesome.
I love it. I can't state it enough, like how out of left field this came for me because I wasn't even going to give it the time of day. And then here we are. Now it's like game of the year contender for me. It just blows my mind.
Yeah. I remember I texted my buddy Steve before I bought it. And I was like, hey, man, so I'm contemplating getting Final Fantasy VII. I'm like, and I don't know. I mean, like buying a third of a game is kind of putting me off. And he's like, well, he's like, dude, you should just look and see how long it is. Because he doesn't have a PlayStation. He has a Switch and an Xbox. So he can't play it yet. And he's a bigger Final Fantasy. He's arguably a bigger Final Fantasy VII fan, or a bigger Final Fantasy fan than I am. And so he's like, well, look up how long it is and maybe make a decision off that. And I was like, that's a good idea. So I looked it up and I was like, 30 to 60 hours. That's a pretty good time
That's
to
pretty
play
good.
it. That's what made the decision for me. So
Yeah.
I'm very pleased with my purchase. I hope a lot of people can give this game a chance, because even if you are not a Final Fantasy VII or you're not a Final Fantasy fan in general, if you're not a Final Fantasy VII fan, in general, check out this game. It'll blow you away.
It's different.
Anybody that's a fan of RPGs is gonna love this game. It's gonna go down as one of the greatest RPGs ever made. Again, somehow.
Again. Crazy.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, we are late in the show. We talked about Final Fantasy VII for a while, which is all fine and dandy with me because it's a great game. So we're going to skip the question of the show this week. We will try to get it in next week. At that point, we'll probably have JJ back, so it'll be fun.
Yes.
But thank you guys so much for listening. If you haven't, go check us out. Patreon.com/SuperGamerBoys. Remember, just $1 a month. Get episodes early, ad-free. The audio version's over there on your private RSS feed, delivered straight to your podcast app of choice. And then supergamerboys.com/store. Talked about it at the top of the show, but new t-shirt. Super Gamer Boys for present 2020. Go get the t-shirt or poster and some of our updated merch now with Zech's beautiful face on there.
And beautiful pixelated face.
It's wife approved. Your wife said that it's actually even hotter looking than Zech is in real life. So
and it was impressive. So you did me a service, Garrett. Thank you so much. I just walk around the house with a print off of that on my face now. What's up, girl? How you doing?
This seems terrifying. It's like cut out where your mouth is.
Yep.
I just imagine you cut it out just big enough so your lips are as like this. Hey girl, what's it good? It's just like really creepy looking.
It's one of those things where they have like popsicle stick. You just like move it down so the mouth moves.
Yeah. Oh man. Rate and review us, please. You can go over to Apple Podcast app is preferable because they're kind of the big dogs out there, but wherever you can, leave a review, leave a rating for us. That would be super helpful. Find us during the week. If you want to find us during the week, you can go to supergamerboys.com. Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys, facebook.com/supergamerboys. I am on Twitter at gmorlang, and Zech is over on Instagram
at Zech Keenan. And at nerd_dads.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were talking about your Nerd Dads content earlier, so go follow them at both of those spots. You put up some good stuff, whether it's a TikTok or whatnot. Live stream your family playing Beat Saber on the weekend. That was fun. That was cool.
That was a lot of fun. My son can play it on normal now. It's getting pretty good. We have to start cutting back to this. Kind of like all you can think about now is.
Like he's just dreaming in VR.
Yeah, it's just like, can I play Beat Saber, Dad? Can I play Beat Saber? No, can't play Beat Saber. We also let him play a game called Space Pirate Trainer. So you shoot like all these little droids.
Okay.
He's getting pretty good at that too. That's pretty funny.
Nice. That's awesome. Thank you so much to Star Andrews for our logo. Check her out on Instagram at Ground Floor Graphics and Facebook.com/Ground Floor Graphics. Oh, that's the end of the show. Usually JJ has some funny little quip or story to throw in here to keep you all just holding on to every last whim and second and possible piece of entertainment you can squeeze out of this podcast. But I have nothing for you. So for Zech and I don't even know what he normally says. What does he say? See you guys next week. I'll catch you on the flippity flop.
Later.